It was a quarterback masterclass by two veterans last night. And if I was a young quarterback in the NFL, I'd say that's how the game should be played.
The barbershop is open and Tony Wiggins has a chair for you. He's ready with some real NFL talk. The local experts of Locked On bring their expertise, and Wiggy is ready with his clippers and shears. Sit down and enjoy. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is, in fact, your team every day here on Locked On NFL. We thank you for making us your first listen. Happy Friday to you. That means that Matt Williamson of the Peacock and Williamson podcast is here to join me. We are going to navigate around the National Football League with the use of local experts that help us keep our finger on the pulse of all of the stories that are going on. We got some big ones here today to discuss. First, I'd like to thank the everydayers and welcome you in. And it is your team every day. We appreciate you joining us wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you tap into that location. Matt and I are both credentialed members of the media, been doing this, 3 decades or so each, maybe something like that. I ain't trying to age my man, but a long time. We're going to use our experience to hopefully help you get some clarity for what's going on around the National Football League. We got to remind you that for ad-free programming of our podcast, make sure you slide on over to Amazon Music. That's right. For ad-free content from all of our podcasts, go over and check out Amazon Music. All right, so here's where we're going to end up. We always do a whip around and pick them at the end of the show. We're going to do that again today. Try to get as many of these games right. Last week was wow, man. I probably got more wrong than I did right. Best and worst season so far. There's 2 teams that come to mind. One of them is coach that has probably the coach of the year at this point. The other one, not so much. We're going to start, though, at the very top with the game from last night. A surprising result is the Pittsburgh Steelers came up short. The defense let them down, but their quarterback didn't. Both of those quarterbacks put on an absolute masterclass of how that position needs to be played, Matt.
So, Wig, on the opening, you mentioned how long we've been doing this. And I bring this up a lot, but it's topical for today. I've been doing this so long that I recruited Joe Flacco out of Audubon High School to Pitt when he was a 16-year-old, and we beat Ohio University on him. No one even knew when the poor guy was. And he's the last one standing that I watched their high school tape and made offers to him. I mean, so
look at that, man.
I've been doing it. Yeah.
Look at that. See, you had an eye for talent back then. Little did you know that he's going to be a grandfather. I don't know if he is or not. He's going to be a grandfather out there still slinging the ball around. It was a little bit of a surprising outcome from the game last night. We're going to get right to it.
Yeah.
We've been giving the Bengals so much grief. I'm going to let my man Jake from Locked On Bengals have his moment. Check this out.
How can you not be romantic about Joe Flacco? What Joe Flacco just did for the Cincinnati Bengals was play an immaculate football game against a team that was heavy favorites with the Bengals at home on Thursday Night Football, going blow for blow with the other 40-plus-year-old quarterback in the game in Aaron Rodgers. Joe Flacco, can't give that guy enough credit for making the plays down the stretch. Jamar Chase, massive game. T. Higgins, massive game. And all you got to do if you're Joe Flacco is manage the pocket, read out the defense, and get the ball to those magnificent wide receivers on time. That's why the Bengals traded for Flacco, and he rewarded them with a huge division win to give the Bengals some hope on Thursday Night Football.
Mike Tomlin was right. What the hell Cleveland thinking about trading that dude to his team? We got to play them. The other thing is, and Chris Carter told me this yesterday, the Steelers just don't win on the road on Thursday nights in the division.
It's really, really bad, to be honest with you. So that was a big thing I talked about all week. People know I have this Steeler affiliation. I mean, Tomlin's 2-9 on the road Thursday night. Now, I tried to counter it by Aaron Rodgers being 13-5 on Thursday nights, the new guy in town. And he did his part. Tomlin's side of the ball didn't. And, I despite him being now the starting quarterback for every other team in the division of the team I deal with, so they've been the opponent and all those Ravens Steelers stuff. I root for Joe because I knew him, I'm his family. And I really thought he was shot. I mean, that last week he started to feel it again against the Packers, but I thought, man, that's too little too late. I mean, his Browns time was bad. I didn't think much of him with the Colts last year. First half against the Packers was bad. But we were talking off the air, and I want to give you all the credit in the world. I mean, these guys that have been around the block, and I think Tomlin knew this and feared it, that if you got great receivers, all you got to do is give them the ball. It sounds easy. It's not.
The Bengals offensive line actually looked good last night. I'm going to repeat that. A quarterback actually made an offensive line that has looked terrible for years actually look good. And until late, I didn't see TJ Watt, and I was about to start. I swear I was preparing a thumbnail saying, is TJ washed? Because I didn't see him all game until the very end when him and Cam Hayward made a play that they needed to make to get Aaron Rodgers the ball back. But yeah, man, we got to talk about that defense with Pittsburgh. I have no clue as to what the prognosis is for them moving forward. I think Jalen Ramsey at this point in his career can still play corner. I just don't think at this point in his career he's going to stalemate a guy like Jamar Chase while he's playing corner. And they might need to be moving him to free safety at this point because Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the National Football League. For me, I've been saying it for years. I've always thought that. But here's my man, Chris Carter. Matter of fact, Chris going to have a little delay here. I think he was so shocked how that game went.
Chris Carter of the Locked On Steelers podcast here after the Steelers have lost 33-31 to the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday Night Football. The Steelers came out and they tried to run man defense with the Bengals receivers, but the Bengals receivers shows they could not stick with them. And that, to me, is a huge problem moving forward. The Steelers constructed this defense with the entire game plan of having Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter, and Darius Slay be able to win in man coverage and take away star receivers. And they showed they could not do that tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. That is going to be a big problem moving forward if they cannot rectify that. Granted, not every team's going to have receivers like the Bengals do, but that was what a big part of what this entire defense was structured on. If it can't do that moving forward, there's going to be a lot of changes that have to be made, but we'll talk about that more on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter. Get it wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube.
He's right. And I tell you why you want to run man against Cincinnati. You say, why would you do that against those dudes? Because the quarterback can't run. Mm-hmm. The thing about man defense is the corner always has his back to the quarterback. And a lot of times in these games, the corner is running, chasing the receiver, and the quarterback is chasing him 20 yards down the field. He doesn't even know he's behind him. So I think because at this point in his career, probably his whole career, Joe Flacco has pretty much been a statue, and they thought they were going to be able to get home in time. Did not work. And you can't try to jam Jamar Chase because he's a bully. He turns into a linebacker, he'll run you over, and then he'll be waving his hand downfield. So Pittsburgh has a lot of little soul searching to do with that defense.
Yeah, and this is a national show, so we look at it from a national perspective, and I'm sure people loved watching it. I'm about to go do many hours of Steelers radio, and we're going to talk about this heavy. And being so close to it, like Chris is, their obvious plan was last year we only have Porter. We can't trust any other corners. Therefore, we can't blitz. This year, we're coming after quarterbacks. We're attacking. We got corners. And my take on it, and maybe I'm a Steelers apologist, and I'll be the first to say what they did last night was embarrassing on defense against the run and pass, is the ball came out in 2.44 seconds from Flacco. And it doesn't matter what kind of pressures you bring, what kind of blitzes you bring. He's such a quick decipher of it. And I haven't got a chance to watch the All-22. I probably will in a couple hours. I definitely will in a couple hours. But I didn't see a lot of press man coverage. You're playing man, but if you're playing off, Joe's going to hit those dudes now, So maybe you don't trust Slay and Ramsey to play press. Fine. I mean, I get that. But I'm also going to tell Steeler Nation, Chase is just that good, too. I mean, to me, that's the number one takeaway from last night is that dude's unbelievable.
He's patient. And at one point, it looked like he had 11 catches for 60 yards or something. It's like, what are you? He just keeps. He's fine getting those little 6 yards and creating second and fourth.
Yeah,
he's cool with it.
Tackling him is no fun either.
And he's blocking downfield. I saw him make 2 blocks on one play for T. Higgins. I'm thinking like he is a pure football player in every single sense of the word, and every single team should take away that. I didn't want to hear that Penei Sewell argument last night. Ain't no argument now. Jamar Chase was the right pick. But I tell you what, those quarterbacks put on an absolute masterclass for all young quarterbacks and even not so young quarterbacks. Maybe they need to take a look at that. All right, we're going to talk about best and worst that we've seen so far. We'll do it in just a second on Locked On NFL. All right, today's show is sponsored and brought to you by BetterHelp. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. Life can be tough on and off the field, and behind millions of mental health journeys are therapists who show up, listen, and help people take a step forward. BetterHelp is shining the spotlight on those connections while also making it simple for you to find support whenever you need it. Yep. As strong as I might seem to y'all, I have had to get to a point where I've needed therapy on multiple occasions, and it absolutely worked for me. It helped me realign some things and prioritize the things that I needed to prioritize in order to move forward. This World Mental Health Day, join us in celebrating the therapists who've helped millions take a step forward. If you're ready to start your own journey, BetterHelp can help you find the right therapist. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. And today's show is also sponsored and brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. All right, man, every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love to do it because you can do it right after kickoff, but before that, you can see who's playing, who's not, who's questionable, and then make your informed decision. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That code is LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Moving and grooving here with my main man, Matt Williamson from the Peacock and Williamson podcast. Best and worst. I know it's going to seem like we're piling on, so I'll do worse in just a minute because we're going to be talking about Ferraris and dump trucks again. But those Ferraris and dump trucks are standing behind microphones at podiums now, making it even worse. Yeah. All right, the muffler's blown on that car, right? We'll get to them in just a second, but I have to give credit to the Indianapolis Colts. Had an offseason that none of us would ever really want. The face of that franchise, Jim Irsay, after a long battle with a whole bunch of things, succumbed and passed away before the season started. Regardless of what you think about him and his personality or whatever he had to overcome, he was the face of the Colts, and he absolutely loved and adored that franchise. And it's almost a part of me that wishes all that hard work after all of those years, he could have seen what is going on, because the Colts, to me, are playing very, very inspired football, and they're being well coached by Shane Steichen.
I love it. I think that's the easiest one, the best one, extremely well said. I'm glad you brought up ownership and all the things that the Irsay family, especially him, had invested in this team. I threw some honorable mentions out there, that just overcoming their circumstances, good vibes in general. New England, I think they got a coach and a quarterback. That's great for me. I think Atlanta, we made a lot of jokes about their pass rush. The defense looks like it's real. Seattle, I think there's a lot of really good things going on in Seattle right now. Quarterback, coach, etc. Tampa Bay just keeps overcoming every big injury on the planet. Wirfs, Evans, etc. The guys you can't afford to lose. And I was hesitant to put San Francisco on there, but they keep winning, and they lose every good guy on the team.
Everyone. I was just saying that yesterday. I hope the Jaguars call him about Trent Williams and say, "Look, man, y'all ain't going nowhere. What we need to send you to get him on our team for a couple of years." But
Shanahan probably thinks you're still going somewhere. We'll get Kittle back this week. We'll keep winning.
Yeah, you mentioned Atlanta. I said that Bijan was my number 2 right now if the season ended for MVP. My number 1 would be Baker Mayfield, because he at one point all 3 of his receivers weren't in the game, and he was running on 3rd and 14 and running people over like Bronco Nagurski and willing his team to win. So I really would say him. But for Coach of the Year, it's none other than Shane Steichen, and here's Locked On Coach to tell you about it.
And Shane Steichen just came into the season very prepared with Daniel Jones, and both of them are operating at such a high level. And you give a lot of credit to what Steichen's been able to do, again, with a quarterback that the whole league was ready to cast off, that we were ready to cast off on this show as well. They've just been fantastic. So Shane Steichen, like you said, for everything, Jake, like just being a head coach, winning the days on Sunday, getting everyone on the same message, holding guys accountable have been great. But Shane Steichen, the offensive whiz kid that he was hired to be, has very much come to fruition this season. He is maximizing the talent around Daniel Jones. He's maximizing Daniel Jones himself, and they're leaning into things that work. And they're putting up 33 points a game in the NFL.
Yep, number one scoring.
And this is with, again, their starting offense has not played in 3 fourth quarters this year. They have 3 fewer quarters played than any other starting offense in the league right now, outside of teams that have had their bye weeks. So, it could be even bigger. They could be averaging 40 points a game if they kept their starters out there in games where they had to. So, yeah, this offense is clicking, and Shane Steichen's a huge part of it. And I think he deserves his flowers.
People that I respect said that the Colts were doing a disservice to Anthony Richardson. I think if they'd have played Anthony Richardson and would not have had the courage to go to Daniel Jones, they would have been doing a disservice to the other 52 players on that team. You're not here to serve one guy. You're here to serve the organization. And I think they made the right decisions and pushed all the right buttons.
1,000%. And even going back to the offseason, you make a big defensive coordinator hire. I mean, from what I understand, Steichen and the former coordinator were like best men in each other's weddings. That wasn't an easy move to make. No. You talked about MVPs. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is not far off on offensive player of the year, too. I mean, if that's Bijan or Puka, I mean, it's Jonathan Taylor's right there with those guys. They always have an O-line, even though they lost 2 starters. And they had the guts to say, all right, Daniel Jones is clearly our best guy. Let's roll with him.
So that's the good. We're going to skip the bad and get right to the ugly. Let's go to South Florida, man, and talk to Cal Krabs from Locked On Dolphins.
The number one question on Miami Dolphins fans' minds is indeed, is it April yet? But there's a lot that has to happen between now and April for the Miami Dolphins. But if you're into silver linings, this team is tracking at 1-4 towards a very handsome choice in the 2026 NFL Draft. But both general manager Chris Grier and head coach Mike McDaniel had to receive a vote of confidence from owner Stephen Ross at the end of the 8-9 campaign that the Dolphins ran last year. That confidence has been rewarded with a 1-4 start, in which the Dolphins have looked very inconsistent and have a lack of chemistry in effectively every phase of the game. It's a frustrating development that has fans in Miami flying banners over the stadium for home games asking for change. That will probably happen unless the Dolphins dramatically start ripping off wins. But that fan question, as far as where they fall in the NFL pecking order, is certainly, is it April yet?
I'm not one that takes pride in wanting people to lose their job. Mm-hmm. But I don't push all the chips in unless I'm in control of something. But I'm willing to push all my chips in to say that Miami going to clean house after the GM, coach, everybody go. Matt, this is one bet that I would absolutely take and push all of my chips in and say, no, everybody got to go.
I totally get it, and I don't have any problems with it. They pushed their chips in with the Tyreek Hill deal, thinking they were closer than they were, and now they're also paying for that bill to come due. Tennessee was obviously, we don't even have to talk about them. They got their walking papers already, but what a disaster that organization is.
Yeah.
One I'm also wanted to throw out there, just because I'm disappointed in them, is Vegas. Because
that was my second one, yeah.
Okay. All off season, I said they upgraded at ownership. They go get Brady. They upgraded at GM from the dude from Tampa. They upgraded head coach with Pete Carroll. They upgraded quarterback with Geno Smith. I'm not seeing any of it.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
This is a situation where it looks Arthur Smithish. And what I mean by that is, my bad, I know he's the dude up there that you call.
That's all right.
It looks like Arthur Smith in Atlanta. It's like, okay, do you know you have Brock Bowers, even though he's been banged up, but they weren't throwing him the ball before he got hurt? Did you know you have Ashton Jenkins? Do you realize what that is? Do you know what your strengths are? And Chip Kelly, man, it just doesn't look. And Tom Brady, he's a part of the organization, I guess, and he's sitting up there. There's rumors that he's having meetings, and it ain't working right now, okay? And they got to figure it out. And the thing is it's not like Pete Carroll's this young whippersnapper of a coach. He's an old guy. I don't know how long he can put up with this stuff. So
I thought he'd give him an immediate jolt, and then someone else would take over in 2 years, and the organization would be kind of back on track. I mean,
and when you look at what Seattle has done, you mentioned them. Pete Carroll leaves a couple of years ago. Boom, look where he. So it almost kind of tells you that Geno and Pete, they weren't welcome in Seattle, and Seattle's winning now. And maybe the Raiders should have done some of the things that the Seahawks did. All right, it's time for Matt and I to go around the league, whip around and pick them. He's going to tell you who's going to win these games. We'll talk about it in just a second here on Locked On NFL. All right, today's show is sponsored, brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes, well, they sweat all the details. But Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like nothing but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's show sponsored and brought to you by Rougiet. All right, fellas, listen, man. I'm gonna let you know. What do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex? Confidence. That's what you get, baby. Pure confidence. And if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiet Go Long. Listen, man, that's exactly where Rougiet Go Long comes in. This is not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for your confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula, so you can get hard and go the distance. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to RUGIET.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. That's Rougiet, RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure you use our code so they know that we're the ones that sent you. All right, man, let's get to it. We got some games to pick starting Sunday morning. I got to get up early. I'm always up early anyway, but I got to get up with intent, because Liam Cohen, the teacher versus the student, hosting, kinda, the Rams in London. What you got?
I think that favors the teacher, and all the pressure Lawrence was under in the pass rush department last week scares the heck out of me with Verse and those guys. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, they're banged up. They were banged up on the offensive line. Hopefully they'll get their center back, but Walker Little just has to play better at left tackle. If not, he's susceptible to power. Well,
yeah.
You got Verse right.
He's getting it, right?
That's what he's going to do. He's going to transfer. I like to see Verse on one side. I wish Trayvon was totally healthy, because I think they kind of mirror each other with the way that they play. Saints at Bears. A little Bears 3-2, man. Got a chance to get to 4-2 with this one.
I'm taking the Bears, but I'd be a little worried. I mean, the Bears just had a big win. They're not used to winning. In this league, sometimes you get a wake-up call, but and the Saints play teams tough, but I'm taking Chicago at home.
Yep. I was very, very impressed with those 2 young quarterbacks Monday. Just trying to do a little too much. They those are 2 that they could look at that game last night and go,
watch last night's game. Yeah,
that's what we got to do. Just dial this back a little bit and be just like that. Those Dolphins we talked about go to the team that traded Joe Flacco away, and the coach didn't know anything about it. Cleveland.
Ugh, I really want to bet against both these teams. I guess I'll take the home team. I still respect for the Browns defense.
Yeah, Matt's like, I got to pick one. Yeah, you got to pick one, Matty. All right, the Raiders that you mentioned. Ooh, Rashee Rice is coming back, and the Raiders got to go to Arrowhead. This could get nasty.
I think Kansas City's starting to really roll, and they might, if we have this conversation in 2 weeks, we might be like, oh, yeah, the Chiefs are the best team in the league.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Eagles, who are also a team that some people think is one of the best in the league. This will be a very, very intriguing game if the Vikings had a quarterback that I trusted, but they don't. Carson Wentz gets the chance to exact some revenge. Can he do it?
I think so. I like the Vikes in this one. I think it's such an awful place to play. Coming off a bye, the Eagles' line of scrimmages aren't as strong as they've been at all in recent years. I think the Vikes win one at home. No doubt about it. That's a good pick, Matt. The Panthers get a chance. As a matter of fact, more than a chance. They're going to be expected to go above 500 at 4-3.
because they go to face the big green fungus in New York called the Jets.
I think they'll just keep running the ball and run the ball, whether Chuba comes back or not. Dowdell's been insane lately. The O-line's physical. Limit what you ask out of Young. I think you go on the road and beat the Jets that are a mess right now.
Yeah, it's a little fun for me. If I'm Mike Vrabel, I'm walking in like Clint Eastwood, baby. They go to the Titans, and I'm walking out there. This might be the Conor McGregor walkout. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Mike Vrabel,
I think they blow them out. I mean, like we talked about this on Peacock and Williamson. Like the Titans get a shot in the arm from the coaching change. I don't think they don't make good players, and Patriots are rolling.
Yeah, the Giants got a little bit of a break and a breather last week in a primetime game, but they're kind of playing a team in Denver that's really not the kind of team that lets a team like them get away with stuff.
No, and I can see this being a low-scoring game. I'm not thrilled with where the Broncos and Knicks are at right now on offense, but I just don't know where the points come from with New York.
Yeah, the Chargers are at home, and they're super, super, super banged up all over the place. They host those Colts that we talk about. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Chargers are going to win this game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Peacock and I picked this one, and we were shocked that the Chargers were favored. It's not by a ton. We just talked a lot of good stuff about the Colts. I think they're well capable to go on the road and beat the Chargers. I like Indianapolis. I think they're very much for real.
I think one of the teams that's been a little bit of an enigma because of high expectations that they had after the opening week and the trade they made, Green Bay. It seems like Green Bay ain't playing well, but they're actually 3-1-1. They go to play Arizona.
Yeah, they're not in that bad a shape. They just haven't blown people's doors off lately. I'm having a hard time backing Arizona. They were almost on my disappointing list too.
Yeah, one of the most exciting games, because it always is, and it's a rivalry, is one that I grew up on. But really, when you look at the way these two teams have played this year, Washington and Dallas might be a bunch of fun at 4:00 Sunday.
I think every Dallas game is a bunch of fun.
Yeah.
I think they're all going to be like the Bengals last year, first one to 40 wins. And I'm going to go with Washington just because, man, Dallas's run defense is so poor. And I think Washington's probably the best rushing team in the league.
The 49ers are banged up. They're 4-2. The Falcons are trying to get to 4-2. Atlanta at San Francisco.
That's another one that shocks me, that the 49ers are favored. I think Atlanta's playing really well. I love how they're getting after the quarterback. And I think the Warner loss is more than they'll be able to overcome.
No doubt about it. I think these are the two best games of the week, by the way. First, a doubleheader on Monday. Bucks versus Detroit in Detroit.
I'm definitely keeping Tampa to stay really tight in this game. But I'm going to take the Lions at home in a Monday night situation. I mean, their loss last week doesn't change my opinion at all on Detroit. I think they're still really, really strong.
Yeah, and then the Texans, they're playing a little bit better now. The margins aren't, except the one game that they had where they absolutely blew out Baltimore. But they go to Seattle. It's going to be a late game. Shout out to Tyler Roden on Locked On NFL that has to wait up all night long for this game to end. But the Seahawks, I saw them firsthand. They get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Even though they were banged up in the secondary, they do max protect. They got two guys running routes, and they still find a way. Sam Darnold drops the ball in. He has arm talent. I like Seattle. I think they're going to win.
I do too. I expect a really fun, low-scoring game, though. I have great respect for both these defenses, both these pass rushes. And if I felt better about Houston's O-line, I know it's better than last year, but I'm not sold that it's fixed. I might take the Texans, but I think Seattle wins this one based off their defense.
Man, when you look at Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Boy Mafe, and Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is another player the Cowboys are missing, along with Michael Parsons and Jordan Lewis. It's amazing how much defensive talent Dallas lost in one off season. But when you look at Seattle, man, they invested a lot with those guys. It's first round pick. They didn't necessarily take Williams with the first round pick, but that's his pedigree. And they are loaded, man, with people that can get after the pass rusher, that can rush the quarterback. And like you said, that offensive line with Houston leaves something to be desired. Tyler Roden is going to take you through it Monday morning on Locked On NFL in the morning, a.m., like a madman, because that's what he is. And then I'll slide through with the second of two shows, just like the one you just heard or watched in the barbershop, to give you my little spill on it. Other than that, man, Matt's going to get to it, and you guys have a great weekend. We are so happy that you decided to spend some time with us here on Locked On NFL. We do not take you for granted. 30 minutes on the dot today. Thank y'all, man. We'll see you next time.